Ideals like peace, freedom, and justice, they get packed up, but we can all go home. Well, I'm not going home. I'm gonna get on my boat, and I'm going upriver, and I'm going to kick that son of a bitch Bison's ass so hard that the next Bison wannabe is gonna feel it. Now, who wants to go home, and who wants to go with me?
Welcome to the Rated G for Gamers podcast, episode 341. Before we start the show, we want to thank all of our wonderful fans who have supported us. And if you want to show support for the Rated G Network, you can find us on Patreon at patreon.com/Rated G for Gamers. You can also find us on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Rated G for Gamers. And finally, please rate and review us on iTunes and Spotify. We appreciate all the love. I'm your host, Dave Rotino, and this is my co-host, Dan Baby New Year Robinson.
What does that got to do with anything?
It's because it's the New Year. The little the baby with the sash and the little top hat. It's Baby New Year.
What are you talking?
You never heard about Baby New Year? You've never seen Baby New Year?
I thought you were calling me a crybaby. It was like,
oh no! It's the it's the symbol for a new year. It's Baby New Year.
I've never heard of that.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, they don't really no one really makes reference to it anymore, but it's a thing from the 1900s.
I don't think it's a thing.
20th century.
It's not a thing. How about
I'm just making this up out of thin air.
I think you're making this up out of thin air.
No. So you were now your nickname in my eyes is now Baby New Year.
No. How about this? How about the David Garbage Pail New Year?
No,
garbage.
Not garbage. Yeah. I'm saying that you have a youthful glow about yourself, Dan. Don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted.
I'm saying out with the old, in with the new year.
Oh. So I'm the old and you're the new. Is that what that is?
No.
I don't subscribe to this.
I'm just saying you throw it out the old stuff and you're bringing in the new year. It's new, right?
Okay.
Out with the old, in with the new.
All right. Well, look. I was just trying to throw some fun in the mix here, but you obviously don't like the Baby New Year nickname. I understand. I apologize.
No.
I hit a nerve. New year, new us. I don't want to get off on the wrong foot.
Oh no, we got both feet grounded. I was saying garbage. Out with the old, in with the new.
All right. Well, please just don't call me garbage. Come on now.
No.
It's 2023. I'm looking forward to a good year. All right. 2022 was a little rough, I gotta say.
No, you look great for your age, man. I mean, you're like 85 years old.
Listen, coming from you, I'll take it. Okay.
Salutations. What's going on, man?
There you go.
What's going on?
We've been away from the mics for a little bit. You'll probably, if you're subscribed to our feed and you watch the YouTube or whatever, you probably heard our comeback episode, which was Saturday Morning Retro, which was a little late. As you know, we both got sick over the holidays. I missed Christmas. I had to do do-over on New Year's. So that was a whole thing. We've been away for a while. I don't know about you, Dan, but I feel reinvigorated. I feel excited, hopeful for the new year, and we got a lot going on. There's going to be a big episode. We're combining the end of the year episode and the beginning of the year episode, so we got a lot of stuff to go over.
And listen, Dave, it's going to be an awesome year. Okay, 2023 is going to be awesome. I'm putting it out there in the universe.
Yeah.
You know,
positive vibes.
It's positive vibes. We got the Baby New Year rolling. We got the out with the old garbage, in with the new.
That's right.
we're going to do it big. And listen, we have an awesome show this week, right? First episode of the year.
That's right.
We're gonna get into a little bit of, talking about 2022, the good, the bad, and maybe talking about, the future, and maybe we'll do like a prediction or two of 2023. And then we're gonna do our GOAT nominees. We got to do, we got to go game of the year nominees for 2022. We're actually going to do that a little bit early. We're going to do it in the first half of the show. And at the end of the show, we're going to announce our game of the year winner. All right. So we're going to do a little bit different this episode. But before we get into all of that, let's begin the show with the notable games that are coming out in January of 2023. Not a lot of big games that are coming out, but still good games. I'm looking forward to picking some of these up. And again,
go ahead.
If I misspeak or about any game that's coming out, don't get mad at me. Get mad at Game Informer, because this is where I pull my release dates from.
Right.
So
right. So I mean, this typically was the also rans that didn't make Christmas, all the shovelware stuff that couldn't make the holiday deadline and all that. Obviously in the last 5-10 years or whatever, that's been changing. But January is still a little slow, right? Typically it kicks off February, March, April, we get the heavy hitters.
I want to say the last couple of years, we've gotten, the Resident Evil, didn't Resident Evil 7, right, come out? Or Resident Evil 8?
Late January, early February, I think. Yeah, in 2017, I think.
And then we got Monster Hunter, right? It was the biggest game.
Oh yeah,
Capcom history.
Monster Hunter Rise. Yeah.
So that came out. So January, the end of January, can be the start. That's that's the official start of Christmas too.
Oh yeah.
All right. So all right, let's get into it. January 2023, we got January 20th, Fire Emblem Engage, exclusive to the Switch.
Nice.
I don't know if you're super excited about that. Not a big Fire Emblem fan, personally.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Unless they're gonna do, Hyrule Warriors.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, they did that already. They may do a sequel.
And I loved it.
Yeah. They may do a sequel.
And I love that. Then we got January 23rd, SpongeBob SquarePants: The Cosmic Shake. Coming out PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. Mind you, I won't be saying Stadia, because Stadia will
ever again
shutting down.
That's it.
Right, so that'll officially be shutting down, I think, this month. So, all right. So the biggest game this month that I'm looking forward to, coming out January 24th, console exclusive to PS5, also coming out on PC, and that is Forspoken. So
yeah.
I was a little when the demo came out, right? I completed all of the objectives in a demo. It soured me a little bit, but I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that the full game and the story will capture me, and the demo is just a confusing slice, but a slice nonetheless.
Okay.
So, then we got Dead Space Remake, coming out January 27th for the PS5, Xbox Series X, S, and PC. Don't know if you're excited about that. Will you pick it up at all? Are you thinking to pick it up?
100%.
I think this is going to be a wait.
100%.
I think this is going to be a wait for me.
Does this have anything to do with the Callisto Protocol and the fact that you're soured on it, or you weren't too crazy about it?
No, the Callisto Protocol I thought was.
Oh, you liked it. You liked it. The reviewers didn't like it because it wasn't very horror-like.
Yeah, and I'm afraid that this will be more horror-like. So, no.
Dead Space legit is, horror survival.
First off, from a spooky standpoint, right? Callisto Protocol is just cluttered with jump scares. So if it's not really the spooky part, I like the action part of it where I can do melee, I can shoot. There's a boss midway towards the end of the game where you have to really hoard your ammo because he's just a bullet sponge, and if you're running out of bullets, then you're just sort of assed out. That part I don't really get. If the whole game you're telling me I could just do melee, right? These melee combos, I should be able to utilize that at some point. It could be harder, right? Make it a little bit harder, but I should be able to use that against this sort of the ending boss. But they make it impossible. So that point's a little disappointing. But I like the game better than the reviewers like the game. But this gives me more of like all the stuff I don't want. It's all spooky vibes with, you do melee, but you're really going to need to sort of figure it out with like bullets and sort of hoard your bullets, more Resident Evil style.
Right.
And that's not something that I'm looking forward to.
Okay.
So. Then we got the last game on my list, Age of Empires 2, Definitive Edition, coming out on
classic.
Xbox Series X, XS, Xbox One, January 31st.
Yeah. I think this is also coming. It's got to be coming out on PC. Age of Empires 2.
Again, don't get mad at me.
Nah,
Get mad at-
it's got to be. I mean, this was.
Get mad at Game Informer.
This came out in like 99, 2000, right? This was the height of PC gaming. You didn't do RTSs on the console. And if you did, it was weird, like StarCraft 64, weird, or Command & Conquer on the PlayStation, weird. It kind of worked, but it really didn't. Yeah, if this doesn't come out for PC, I would be very surprised. That's where it's got its start. But it's classic, man. It's one of the best RTSs.
All right, Dave.
Mm-hmm.
Let's continue our tradition of our top 10 Game of the Year nominees.
Mm-hmm.
You pick 5, I pick 5. And then we come together and pick one game that's supreme out of all of them. Mm-hmm. Let's get this started. You know what? We've changed it up a couple of times where we've alternated and, I've went, you've went. Let's stick with that. Dave, why don't you go first? Why don't you give me your top 5? And I know you have a little side award you want to give. The most disappointing game of 2022.
Oh, yeah. I think I want to make this a recurring theme. I have the game that looks so cool. It's been in development for so long. I was really looking forward to it. It came out on Games Pass. Me and you both played it. I know a bunch of my friends have played it, and all got mixed opinions on it. I did not like it, and that game is Scorn.
Oh, yes.
I don't know what I thought. I thought it was going to be more of like horror action, kind of like a Clive Barker's Undying, or like a Doom, but like H.R. Giger, a little more H.R. Giger-ish, and it's just everything about it was weird. The way the puzzles were just like there, and you had to like figure out what you were even doing. I stumbled into solutions to puzzles without even realizing, what it would do for me or whatever. I was just solving things because, the game brain in me, knew that, well, this obviously has to do something, or why is it here, right? Unless it's some bullshit mist puzzle that does nothing. And then, there's combat, but you're not supposed to engage, but they give you weapons, and just, ugh. Yeah. So that's my disappointment.
I thought it was going to be sort of like Doom with the, just gory, exoskeleton type of, atmosphere. And it turned out to be nothing like that. It is a horror puzzle game.
I'm glad it was on Games Pass so I could try it out and not pay for it. So yeah. But that's not what we were here for. Everyone wants to know the top 5, and these are in no particular order. But my first game is, drum roll please, Elden Ring. Now,
nice.
I know Dan doesn't like this game, and you tried it, and I appreciate that you did that.
I thought, to be fair, I got in the game, finally. Mm-hmm. I thought it was gorgeous. Just a gorgeous looking game, gorgeous world. Yep. And I said, this looks awesome. And I went in. I didn't die right away, right? Surprising. I didn't die because I knew what was coming, right? So I knew you know, like, all right, I'm gonna have to get this combat down. And for a minute, and I mean that in the most literal of terms, a minute, I was doing good, and I'm like, oh, I can play this. This is you know, this is not that hard. And
Right.
I quickly found out, nope. Nope, not a game for me. No,
It's the easiest of all the Souls games, so it is easier than Dark Souls and Sekiro and everything that came before it. It's still difficult though. It's still tough. It's a fair challenge though. You have to really know when to get in, when to make your strikes. I don't know. Everything about it just kind of hit. Even though it was very tough and I died a lot, but the world is beautiful. They let you explore at your own pace. There's lore there if you want to seek it out, but it's not like directly in your face. There's no narrator telling you where to go necessarily. You just kind of figure it out, you know. And I think they do a little bit what Breath of the Wild did or does, how they kind of direct you in a particular way so that everybody like ends up going up against like the first boss. I think it's Margit or whatever it is. And you just get completely walloped. And then you're like, oh, well, maybe I need to level up. Maybe I need to power up a little bit. And there's a whole like first little countryside area that you can go around and figure stuff out and fight some lesser bosses and you know, check out some caves, and you know, you come across these weird traveling shopkeepers and all that, and then you're like, oh, okay, I'm starting to get it. And you're never like completely blocked. Like, so if you can't beat Margit, there's 1,000 different things to do in that first area. And then once you get past Margit, you're like, you realize how big the game world is, because that first area is like 1/5, 1/6 of what the game world is, and it's huge in and of its own, and there's so much there. And then the other areas start opening up. You go to Lernia and all the other spots. I mean, I love it. Haven't beaten it, but I put a lot of time into that game. So that's my pick.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
What do you got, Dan?
Oh no, just run it down. I wanted you to just run it down.
All of them.
yourself.
Oh, okay, yeah. All
Yeah.
right, sorry. So let's get into my number 4 pick. And that is Vampire Survivors.
Ooh, that's a dark horse run right there. Okay.
It's a great game, man, and it's only like, I think I bought it for $3. It's always on sale, right? Even when it's not on sale, it's super cheap. This dude, something with a P, I forget his name. Well, I don't know. He's got a pseudonym for his name or whatever. I forget who created it. But it's like one dude, and this guy is tirelessly updating. Every time I go back to the game, there's always at least one new update. And I haven't played in a while, so there's probably like 10 new updates. And I still think it's in beta. Not to say that's a bad thing, but it's just there's so much content. Like it's not even where he wants it to be yet to be the 1.0 release. And for anyone who hasn't played it, it's an auto battler, right? So you don't have to attack because you're always like throwing out weapons, right? You start off with like whatever basic weapon the hero you choose has. Could be a knife or an axe or a cross or holy water or whatever. And every weapon has its own pattern that it flies out in. And every like couple of seconds, a weapon will fly out of you and go in a pattern. And there's enemies around, so you have to maneuver your character so that they hit the hordes of enemies, right? Every time you get hit by an enemy, you take damage. When you go down to 0, you die. And as you kill enemies, they drop gems. And that's how you level your character up. So you keep going, right? And you go up in levels, and then you can either upgrade your current weapons and items, or you can get new weapons and items depending on what they give you. And the whole beauty of it is you kind of build out the weapons and items that work together, because like you get certain bonuses, like if you use like, I don't know, the holy water with like the gauntlets or whatever, right? They can synergize if you max them out and they turn into a super weapon, right? You can like combine the two bird weapons together and that forms like a super phoenix or something like that. So like, and you always get random pickups. Every time you level up, you get like 3 or 4 different things you can choose from. And then there's like different things on the map that you can pick up that'll give you bonuses. And it just keeps getting more and more difficulty till you get to the 30-minute mark, and then death comes after you. And you're not supposed to be able to beat death technically, but you can beat death if you have the right loadout, and then you could just keep going. You can go for as long as you want, and I don't know, it's amazing. I love it. I recommend everybody to get it. I think it's on console now too. I think it's on Switch and a couple other systems. So it used to just be on PC originally. You go get it on Steam for a couple bucks, but if you want to get the physical, you can certainly do that. I think there's a physical for it.
And I don't think there's a physical. I didn't see that.
You can definitely get it on other systems. I think it's on the Switch and a couple other systems. Physical. The thing of it is, like, I don't think they could put a physical out yet because it just keeps getting updated. So whatever version that you have is going to be outdated in a week. So there's really no point other than just having the plastic at that point. But anyway, my number 3 pick is now this game. Oh my God, I got to play it. Me and Anthony. I mean, you didn't get to go to PAX last year. But me and our friend Anthony went, and we got some hands-on time with this game. We got to talk to the devs a little bit, and it was amazing. I was floored by it, but the details were great. Just everything about it, and that's TMNT Shredder's Revenge. All right, this is the long-lost sequel to Turtles in Time that we never got, and now we got. It's amazing. It's a great little game. It's got like 15 levels in it, a couple of unlockables. You can level up your characters.
Came out on Games Pass first, right?
Yeah.
When it came out, I got to play it on Xbox.
Yeah.
I do own the physical on the Switch. I've actually been playing it on the Switch.
Yeah.
Over the break. So
mine just came in. I got the the VHS edition, which comes with a free Pizza Hut pizza coupon.
Nice.
Which I'm never going to use. I'm probably never going to open it. I want to keep it in pristine condition, but it's in there. Anytime I'm really hungry and have no money, I know where I can get a free pizza.
as long as it lasts.
Well, yeah, it's true. That's true. Hopefully, there's no expiration. I hope they work that out. But yeah, and in the number 2 spot is a game that me and you both played. There wasn't necessarily a lot of overlap with the games that we really got into necessarily. I guess more on my side. We'll see when we get into your games, but I think there's a lot of them that I haven't played, which is kind of interesting. But both of us have played God of War Ragnarok, the long-awaited sequel to God of War, which, was originally just going to be DLC. Then it turned into a full-fledged sequel. It is amazing. It shows the power of the PS5 and what it can do. It's beautiful. They've expanded every single bit of the first game. A lot more varied locations that you go to. You get a lot more. Techniques that you can level up. There's a brand new weapon in the game, which I still haven't gotten yet, but Dan says is pretty awesome. But you start off with the Blades of Chaos, and you start off with the axe from the previous game, which is great. So you don't have to re-get the Blades of Chaos again. And it's beautiful. It's a beautiful game. It plays well. It's a nice sequel to the OG game in 2018. And then my final game. This really surprised me because I saw this on the Microsoft stage, I think at E3. It looked really cool. Had Zelda vibes to it, right? Looked like an isometric Zelda game, like an old school Zelda game, and looks super cute. The art style was really considered, and that game is Tunic. It's a little tough, but
another game that came out on Games Pass first.
That's right. And I fell in love with it. I think one of the coolest things about it is that as you go through the game, you pick up pages of the instruction manual, and that is like a way for you to kind of like a help guide to show you how to do
English.
This.
But it's not like in English. You got to figure out with the pictures.
Parts of it are in English, but most of it isn't. Yeah, it's in like a foreign It's in like a foreign language, you know, a kind of fantasy language or whatnot, which I think is kind of cool. But like very much modeled off the original Legend of Zelda. It's got that similar kind of art style and layout. But yeah. Most of it is not in English, so you kind of have to decipher what it is. But it's not too hard to figure out what the bombs do and whatnot. But love that game.
Okay.
Love that game, and those are my 5.
Okay. No, listen, those are awesome games, with the exception of Elden Ring. I'm sorry, I can't do it. I can't do it.
It's fine. That's fine. Some people don't like spinach. It's okay.
Spinach is great. Elden Ring is not.
Well, whatever you do, I don't know, artichokes, Brussels sprouts, whatever.
You know what? Even beets is awesome. You know,
Okay.
go to
I like beets.
Yeah, that's the name of the show. Dan loves beets. Beets is awesome.
Dan
But,
loves beets.
Yeah, love beets. All right, so I don't have. Since you went the disappointing route, I'm going to honorable mention route. All right, a game that didn't make our top 10 games list, and there are a few I wanted to mention, but this one stood out. And this one I wish had a physical, but another Games Pass game, and that is High on Life. So I know you played a little bit of this game. I played a lot of this game.
Yeah.
I love this game, and I know we were discussing this a little bit before the show. You thought it was a little buggy. I thought the bugs brought to the charm of the game. You know, more like Fallout, right? Like Fallout 4. It was a little bit buggy. It was a little wonky, but people thought that came to the charm of
it
Fallout.
can make for good YouTube content if you're riffing on it, but I don't want my gameplay experience to be broken.
I don't think it's broken in any way. I mean, it's a little wonky. I love the humor. I love the comedy.
Oh, I'm with you on that. I think you know the art style's great. You know, yeah, Royland's great. Dan Harmon's great in it. Yeah, it's good.
It looked great, and I thought the level design for the different levels were pretty smart and thought out. So I thought that game was great, but it just couldn't beat out the 5 games that I picked to be on our top 10 list.
Okay.
So I'm going to start a little bit earlier in the year. Was Kirby in the Forgotten Land. Yes, I am picking a Kirby game.
Super high on this. Yep.
Yes, I mean, it's not just because Kirby can turn into a car by swallowing it. That's just one aspect of it. But the Kirby game, the different levels, the story behind it, all smart, thought out. The game looked great, and it sort of a surprise, sort of at the end, more like Zelda. You talked about Tunic being sort of like Zelda. This was like gives you vibes of like the original Zelda in the sense of once you beat the game, you can go sort of like to the Dark World, which are all the levels you beat flipped with, you know, sort of
Extra
with
challenge.
a twist.
Yeah. Okay.
So you could play a whole other game behind that.
That's
And
cool.
yes, Kirby games can be easy, Yoshi games can be easy, but this does have a difficulty level where you can ramp it up a little if you want a little bit more of a challenge. I don't know how hard it is because I just kept it on easy because you know I wanted to fly. I sort of wanted to experience the game and get through the story. So this was a sleeper hit for me. I didn't think I would enjoy it as much as I did enjoy it.
Cool.
My number 4 pick, the King of Fighters 15. I thought. I don't.
The game I haven't played.
I don't understand this. You know, this was the best fighting game this year. I don't understand why it didn't win a game award.
Yeah, seriously.
Hands down, this is the best fighting game of the year. I'm not the biggest King of Fighters fan. I mean, it's always going to be fighting for third behind Tekken for me. Right?
Oh, yeah.
You know, Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, those are, you know, number 1. You have the occasional Dragon Ball Z fighters that jumps in the mix, but overall fighting game franchise is always going to be fighting with Tekken for third spot in my view. But I thought this game was more, especially if you're more of a Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat fan, right, or just a regular sort of, you know, Street Fighter clone type of fighting game fan, like King of Fighters was never that, oh, you could pick it up and play it like Street Fighter.
It's a little more technical, yeah.
It is definitely more technical. But we had Guilty Gear Strive the year before.
That game was
You know,
amazing.
amazing and more of a technical side like this. So this was a continuation, in my view, and my muscle memory sort of the different move sets and stuff. So I put it up there with that. Thought this would be a sleeper hit, fighting game wise when it first, because it came out earlier in the year. So I didn't know what else was going to come out, but it turned out to be the best fighting game of the year. So I can't not put it on this list.
Right.
Then we got my third game, Horizon Forbidden West. This was my half game of the year. This game is phenomenal. Way better than the first one, more approachable than the first one. The story made more sense than sort of the first one. The first one got a little bit convoluted and was a little confused. This was definitely a little bit more linear in a sense of, yeah, you could go open world, sort of like, here, you can go here, you go anywhere you want, but this is where you need to go to further the story.
Right. They kind of they let you know where the main critical path is, and you can do other stuff, but it's not. They don't really encourage it. Maybe is that what you're saying?
In the first game, I was a little like, what do I need to do? How do I do this? It was a little bit more confusing.
Okay.
Again, they focused a lot on the RPG elements. They do have a focus on that here, but I think they did it more in a better way. And I loved sort of like the hub world where I always have to come back to sort of like home base, and the different twists that happen at home base while I'm gone are always surprising. I always wanted to hurry up and get back and see what twist. I can go to the dialogue options and see if I could talk to people and see what happened while I was gone. Right. They do have some moments that are sad.
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil it because I know you haven't played it yet, and I definitely want you to get to it. Hopefully, this year you can actually get to it.
Maybe. I wasn't high on the first one, so it's
I know.
hard.
We both weren't high on the first one. I mean,
I know.
It looked great. Trust me on this. This one is way better than the first one. And the tempo, like, it fits, right? Like, just like it just all like fits in a straight path. Like the tempo just fits.
Okay.
I'm making stuff up in 2023. Like the tempo just fits. I can't find the words of how I want to explain it, but it just
I think I understand what you're saying. It has a good flow to it,
Yeah. My second game that I honestly I was hyped for it, but I didn't think it would make my game of the year list, but it did, and that is Splatoon 3.
Oh,
And
wow.
I love this game. I low-key love this game. This game actually was, I gotta say, like number 2 behind Kirby for best Switch game of the year at the time when it came out, because it came out in September, and I was like, oh, this game is awesome. And I love the way, you leave the multiplayer, you leave sort of the Squid City, and you go into the tunnel, you go into the sewer, and then this is the single player area, and I beat the boss, I beat the area, and I was like, no, the whole area is a tutorial. Now we're gonna bring you to the open world, right?
Yeah.
And it opens up for you, and it's like, wow. And the challenges are fair, and this game will keep you, even when you beat it, you still want to go back because you want to, see if you can get all the points. I sort of challenged myself. I need to figure out how to get up there. I got to ink something, jump somewhere, right? So this game definitely, I have to go back to this game. I've been putting it off because we had to play stuff for Game of the Year, but I need to get back to this game.
All right.
And then last on my list, number 1 is the best Switch game of the year, and that's Bayonetta 3.
Oh, wow. Yeah, okay.
I know when we first talked about it, I was a little bit down on it, and I was down on it comparatively to the other games in the series. But judging it by itself, it was an amazing game. Awesome game. Still confused at the story. Part 2, definitely a little bit more cohesive and makes more sense. This one, I'm still a little confused on who the bad guy is or was, right?
Okay.
And the motivations and how this all works. But I love the twist at the end. Definitely, there was a big twist at the end. Don't want to spoil it for you because I know you haven't played it yet. Not a fan of, I call it the Megazords, because you get they give you the abilities of, like, the the big Bayonetta and the spider and the train. You know, you'll collect them over the course of the game, and they give you, and they throw in these little challenges where you have to figure out how to hit these pillars with your Megazord in allowed it time that you have the Megazord, because you don't have the Megazord for an unlimited amount of time. Like, you have it for a certain amount of time until that bar goes, and then done, right? So you can't like just use it in a fight indefinitely. And they can die too. Like, they can get killed or knocked out for a certain amount of time.
Sure. So they're not super invincible. You're super powerful, but not indestructible.
Correct. But those it wasn't like those little challenges gave me anything in the game. I know what they were trying to do, trying to make you think, the puzzle, and you know, one or two of them I thought were thoughtful and good and not hard to figure out, and then there were others that were just a pain in the ass, and I was like, why is this here?
Right.
But you know, aside from that, it was more Bayonetta. I did not notice the difference in the voice actor, to be honest.
Oh, yeah. I totally forgot about that. Yeah, that was that whole scandal.
Yeah, there was the whole scandal with the voice actor. Didn't understand. It didn't take me away from that at all. And I thought it was a great game. It just nearly beat out Kirby for best Switch game of the year, in my view.
All right.
So with that said, Dave, we got our top 10. Those are our top 10 nominees for Game of the Year of 2022. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to get into the top gaming news of last year. And then at the end, we're going to announce the Game of the Year winner.
All right, let's do it.
And we're back. All right, Dave. Let's get into the top gaming news of last year. And let's sort of split them up between major companies, right?
Sure.
Microsoft, Sony, maybe Embracer Group now, right? Like
they're a big player, man.
They're a big player. You know, and then Nintendo, and maybe a random third party, right? So let's start with Microsoft, because I think we went pretty Games Pass heavy in the first half of the show. But Microsoft, one of the biggest news of last year, was Microsoft announcing that they were going to acquire Activision Blizzard for like $1 trillion.
I think 68 billion, was it?
Close enough. Yeah.
I think it was
a lot of money. A lot of money.
Yeah, you know, it is pocket change to Microsoft, to be honest. I mean,
yeah. So, I mean, that shocked the gaming landscape, and it's still going on to this day. I mean, like, they're being
for
sued.
sure.
I mean, there's like a lawsuit going on to try to stop it. Sony's been sort of, you know, cheeky with it, saying, you know what, we need Call of Duty.
To be honest,
you know,
to be honest, at this point, I don't know if the FTC is going to let it go through, or the SEC, or whoever the governing body that's looking at this thing, because they're going to say, like, you're going to have a monopoly on the video game industry, which I realize, you know, I think in the back of our head we realize that at the time they were number one in terms of the biggest company out of the three, out of Sony, Nintendo, and Microsoft. But now they have. If this goes through, they'll have the biggest video game holdings because of all the other acquisitions they have, and I don't necessarily want to say it's a good thing or a bad thing that Microsoft is acquiring all these companies. I would err on the side of it not being great, because as soon as Microsoft makes one bad move, then it's like, oh well, they own all the stuff, so there's nothing we can do about it. We're just going to not play video games.
But just think about it. They would have Halo, Gears of War, Call of Duty, right? Like, those are like the top first-person shooters.
They would have Diablo, Overwatch, World of Warcraft. They'd have StarCraft, just regular Warcraft. They'd have so much from Blizzard, all the Activision stuff. Spyro's now under their umbrella. I think Crash would now be a Microsoft IP.
the Sony startups, as I call them. Those are like the start mascots for Sony.
That's right.
They, Crash Bandicoot, Spyro the Dragon, they would be under Microsoft at this point. So that shocked the whole gaming landscape last year.
Yeah. I didn't think because Activision Blizzard was big. Call of Duty, biggest shooter franchise of all time, still is. Super popular, right? It's like, why would they sell? But here we are.
Well, they had some issues. They had some issues they were trying to sweep under the rug.
Oh,
I
digress.
I digress because that wasn't a 2022 thing. That was the last maybe 10-year type of thing, right?
Well, yeah, it's good old Bobby Kotick. We don't need to rehash that, but not a good dude. And that's the one silver lining to all of this, to the buyout, is that Bobby Kotick got pushed out. So, if it's all said and done, if it's all said and done and Microsoft doesn't buy them, I still think he gets pushed out, right?
Well, I'll say this: he's still there. A lot of other people are still there. Nothing has
at
really
the moment.
changed
Yeah,
at the moment.
Yeah.
So we can only talk about the moment because we don't know what's going to happen in the future, even though we're going to look into a crystal ball in a couple of minutes and predict what's going to happen. Another big story for Microsoft is from another big acquisition from 2 years ago, Bethesda, right? The big Bethesda games that were supposed to be released last year got delayed into this year, which is Starfield and Redfall. Right? People were really disappointed because they had a firm date for Starfield, 11/11, right? 11/11/22. That was supposed to come out.
Yep.
It was supposed to go up against God of War and Elden Ring. It was supposed to be in our top 10 Game of the Year nominees.
Sure.
Even though some people kind of were a little sour on the E3 and sort of announcement of Starfield.
Well, I think if it came out in the state that it did, it would not be in our Game of the Year nominees. And I think that's exactly why they ended up pushing it. There's no other reason than it's not ready or they're having some trouble and they need some more time. But I think it just wasn't, based on the fan reception and all that, I just don't think it was done enough. It didn't have the polish that it needed. And there's no reason to rush it, right? If they have to wait, better to wait. That's the Blizzard mantra. It's done when it's done. It's ready when it's ready. So, and I think the extra 6 months is really gonna do a lot for the game.
Well, you're really bullish. That's 6 months. So they did say that they did say hey, it was going to be released sort of like between at E3. Hey, these games are going to be released between E3 2022 and next year's E3, so the first half of 2023, right?
Oh, that's right. They didn't specifically say when. Yeah.
Yeah, then they came out with a release date and said Starfield is 11/11, but it's now no longer 11/11, but it's still coming out in the first half. Both Starfield and Redfall. I believe Redfall will come out in I do believe Redfall will come out probably in the first half because they have to have something, right?
Right. And the scope of that game isn't as big as what Starfield is trying to do, I think.
So, but Starfield, they did say, I did hear something the other day that they have a date in mind that they're set and that's it, but they haven't announced it yet, right?
Yeah, I see.
And the big rumor is Microsoft will have sort of have an event at the end of January, maybe early February, where they will announce sort of the release date, because that's the one thing that we don't. That's the one thing that we don't have from Microsoft. We have a lot of different games in the works because they have a lot of studios, but we don't have release dates for anything.
Yeah.
Right? Like
we're in a little bit of a holding pattern for sure. We just don't know.
Yeah, we don't know anything about Perfect Dark. We don't know anything about Fable. We don't know anything about Gears 6, which we know is being in the works.
For sure.
So Dave, I'm going to need you to put your psychic hat on. I'm going to need you to look into the I need you to
put on my wizard hat, bring out my crystal ball.
Crystal ball. And give me at least one. You can give me several, but at least give me one prediction for Microsoft for 2023.
This is going to be a little bit of an odd prediction, but I think they're going to spend most of the year in court trying to deal with this Activision Blizzard buyout.
All right, feet to fire. Will it happen? Will it happen this year?
I don't know if it's going to happen this year because Sony's going on it. Nintendo doesn't give a shit. And Microsoft even ponied up with Nintendo to say, hey, don't worry, Call of Duty's coming to your console. And Sony's like, that's a lie. And they basically rebuffed or tried to rebuff what Microsoft was saying, saying
they touted,
they're not really going to do this.
Well, they touted the poor sales of the last Call of Duty games that came out on the Wii and the Wii U.
Well, yeah, because those were pared down ports to a system that really didn't have good third-party support, right? The only company that really gave a damn was Ubisoft, them and Nintendo, and half of the Ubisoft stuff, to be fair, was kind of shovelware-ish. The Mario Rabbids games and like the Just Dance and the whatever, which, not saying that they're bad games or whatever, but they're just not full-fledged AAA experiences like a Super Mario Galaxy or something like that. So, yeah, they definitely had some poor sales. I think the way you counteract it is you do it like Ubisoft did with Assassin's Creed and Capcom did with Resident Evil. You stream it, right? Stream it from a separate server, and then you play the game that way, right? And so you get the full console experience of like playing it on Xbox or PC or whatever, or PlayStation currently, as you can do now. And you do it that way, so you don't rely on the power of the Switch, because it's not going to be that powerful. You're going to have to pare it back a lot. And then if you play with people on Xbox or even PC from the Switch, then you have the kind of, there's a lot of disparity there. They don't necessarily want to have that divide. And I think Microsoft will do it. And I think they'll do it just so they can get the deal through, right? To be as amenable to other companies as possible, sans Sony, because they're kind of going head to head. But I think Microsoft will do whatever they can do to make this thing pass the uprights. And I think it's going to take up a lot of their year. I know the game studios are kind of separate from like the corporate side of things, but so we'll get some
prediction. Yeah, gut prediction. I want some definitives. Mm-hmm. Will it either go through to this year, or will it go through or be declined this year?
I don't think they're going to come to a conclusion that quickly, so I think it's going to have to go into 2024.
Okay.
Because it's such a big acquisition, right? Like,
okay.
It's, it's hard. It's hard for me to say like, oh, a year's worth of litigation and whatever else and court time is enough. Like, you know that things take time and the wheels of justice move very slowly.
So I'm gonna give a bold prediction.
Mm-hmm.
It will be a fight that will be the beginning of the year, but they will come to some type of settlement or agreement. I don't know what that would be. Maybe they'll say they'll never make Call of Duty exclusive.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they'll have that in writing. Maybe there'll be some agreement. I don't know, because this is all about Call of Duty. Sony does not care about Diablo or WoW. They don't care about any of that.
Yeah.
They really want. This is all about Call of Duty, right? Maybe they'll throw Sony a bone and say, hey, you can have Crash and you can have Spiral. We'll sell them to you pretty cheap, right? Like take them. We'll they already have
we'll take the cash cow. Yeah, we'll keep the cash cow.
They already have an offer for Call of Duty on Sony for the next 10 years, right? So I'm gonna say this deal will go through. They will find a way.
It's going to go through this year.
It's going to go through this year. That's my bold prediction of the year. Okay.
Now, I think it's going to come through in the first half or the second half of the year. Let's get a little specific.
After E3.
So second half of the year. Okay.
Second half.
Q3 or Q4. That's what that means. Okay.
After E3. It's not going to be done before E3. After E3. Mm-hmm. I will say this is more of a realistic prediction. The price of Games Pass will go up, and it will go up $2. So,
I think it's definitely going to go up. If it doesn't go up this year, definitely next year. I mean,
it will go up, and it will go up $2. They've already announced that they followed suit with Sony and all the other third parties. New games will be $70 officially.
Right.
So, it will go up, and it will go up $2. My next prediction, and I had to go back and forth on this because I didn't know. I was, there are a few games I wanted to pick that were going to actually come out in 2023, but I'm going to settle on this. I'm going to say we're going to get Gears 6. It's going to be announced and it's going to be released in the fall. As a matter of fact, I think Starfield, it's not coming out in the next 6 months. Starfield's going to come out like in September. They're going to push it a little bit more. It's going to be pushed to September. And our fall, Microsoft's fall game release, big games is going to be Starfield and Gear 6. That's what I'm going to predict. It was back and forth between Gears and Senua Sacrifice, right?
Oh.
I don't remember.
I was gonna ask what your other game was. I thought like Fable. Like, well,
No.
it's not coming out.
No.
Fable may never come out. I don't know.
No. I mean, we got Senua Sacrifice. They announced it like at the Game Awards when they revealed like the Series X, right? So we're talking about like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I don't think it's. I do think we'll probably get a trailer for that because it's like almost ready. That could be the 2024
I hope so.
game.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think that's the 2024 game, maybe with Indiana Jones, right? That could be 2024. But this year, I think we're gonna get Gear 6 because I think Gears 5 was like 2018, maybe, right? So that it's been
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah.
So it's been about
2018.
So it's been about 5 years, right, to sort of finish the second trilogy of that. And I think Microsoft wants to get that out, get that sort of out the way. We did the Halo, we got the Gears, but we have other things too. So I think they want to get that out the way.
Oh, actually, yeah, it's funny. Funny you mentioned Halo. I think I could toss one more prediction in there that we'll finally get single player co-op.
You're really bullish on that. You think that's
Thing's been
actually
a while.
coming?
I mean, it was announced. It was supposed to come out when the game came out, and they just didn't have the resources to get it out in time. I understand, but that's really the final piece, as well as like more and more multiplayer content, which they've been doing a lot better with. Forge is out, and everyone's making all these crazy maps and all that. So, yeah, man, it's got to happen.
I'm gonna say for Microsoft, I have a positive outlook for 2023. See what I did there? Outlook, Microsoft.
Wow, you just got yourself like 3 kids down with that dad joke. That's how that works. That's how that works. The cheesiness of the dad joke is magnified by how cheesy it is, and then that just nets you more kids. So
No, I'm actually high on Xbox in 2023. Right, I think they're gonna win. I think they're gonna win and acquire Activision Blizzard. They're gonna get Starfield and Gear 6 out this year. We're gonna get. They're going to raise the price. So money from a monetary standpoint, they're going to definitely win. They're raising the price of regular games for $70, and they're going to raise the price of Games Pass. So I think it's going to be a big year for Xbox. So, all right, let's shift gears. Let's talk about Sony. Now, Sony, don't sneeze at Sony. They've been making some acquisitions too. They acquired Bungie last year for $3.6 billion. So
that ain't nothing to sneeze at.
That's nothing to sneeze at. Now, Bungie's been around the block. Bungie's been around the block. I mean,
one way to put it.
they've been with Apple. They were Microsoft.
Yeah, Halo
Yeah.
was supposed to be a Mac multiplayer game.
Yeah. They got what Activision, they got out of that, and I mean, wow, it's crazy that they actually got to leave Activision with the Destiny IP, right?
Fairly easily, I think. I don't think they had much trouble getting out of it. Now, I'm gonna put my conspiracy hat on, but I think all the allegations and just all the terribleness that was going on in Activision Blizzard, I think may have had something to do with it. I don't know.
I don't, and I'll tell you why. Because I think, the deal that they had in their contract, they were able to take the IP with them, just like I think there's a deal in this acquisition with Sony, where if they want to sort of separate and leave and go off, they get. I think they get to keep. Think they get to keep their IP. I think they get to keep Destiny. Now, Destiny, Sony did not buy Bungie for Destiny. I mean, they've had the marketing for Destiny since the PS4 when it first came out. All right, they've had exclusive stuff, content and stuff, right? So it's not that they wanted Bungie for the knowledge, for just the devs. They wanted them for the technology. They wanted to put out, I think there was some crazy number, like 10 multiplayer games that they wanted to put out in like the next 5 years.
Sure.
So it's not they didn't buy it to have Destiny 3 be exclusive. They bought it because who knows? Maybe there's a first-person shooter franchise that's somewhere dormant in Sony's, box of dormant IPs that maybe could be resurrected and made by Bungie.
Cough, Killzone. I mean, come on now. We're all thinking
the next
Dan.
big thing, or SOCOM, right? SOCOM.
Sure, yeah.
That's
SOCOM hasn't had a release since PS3, I think.
That's correct. I think SOCOM 5 was like the last one.
Yeah.
On PS3. Yeah, or 4 or 5. It was one of those. Because I recently bought it like a year ago to finish. I wanted to get all the SOCOM games because I have them all for the PSP. So, and then they also acquired, Jade Raymond's company, Haven Studios, right? And
Sure.
Jade Raymond, she was, they're at CES. Jade Raymond was on the Sony stage at CES, I believe, 2 days ago, and
That's
they're
right.
talking about a multiplayer game that they're developing. So,
Yep.
Sony really wants to get in this space with the multiplayer games. So they're doing big things. They were doing maybe smaller acquisitions, but they can turn into bigger things in the future. So I'm super curious to see what Jade Raymond's actually working on, to be honest.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, she was, previously, I think she came from Ubisoft. She was with Google.
She worked on the Assassin's Creed franchise, correct?
Right. So, she's definitely got some chops and pedigree. She ended up leaving Google Stadia before the ship sunk. She got out and Sony was like, yeah, come on board. We'll give you a big sack of money. And it was like,
well, no,
it's a good move.
Well, no, she started her own. No. So they shut down the first person studio in Stadia, right?
Oh, right.
So she left by default, obviously.
Yeah.
She started her own studio, Haven Studios, right? And she definitely sort of did a deal with Sony to start that studio. And then Sony must have been so impressed in what they saw. They said, we'll buy it.
Yeah.
We're all in. We're all in.
We'll keep it in-house.
Yeah. They saw it and said, well, we can't have this on the next Switch.
Yeah.
We got to bring it in. And then Sony also, big news, they revamped the PlayStation Now and PS Plus gaming service and made it one. And they, easily predicted, got rid of the PlayStation Now sort of moniker, and everything's under the PlayStation Plus banner with the different tiers.
Yep.
So, so they had a big year with their subscription services. I know mine's is coming up. My yearly subscription is coming up. I got the notification February 1st. It's automatically going to be charged to my phone. So
yeah, it's so funny that you were all like, I don't know about these, I don't know about these kind of all you can eat gaming services and whatnot, and now you're subscribed to more of them than I am.
Well, actually, I took the approach of, we have Saturday Morning Retro. Right. And if you haven't listened to it, it's, where we sort of do a deep dive into our collection and pick a game and play. And a lot of these games, it can be a little bit much of a pain in the ass to dust off the old console, find the controller, get all the wires, hook it up to a TV and leave it hooked up, because obviously you're not going to just play it for a day. You want to play it over time so you can get the feel for the game and talk about it. And it can be easier if this old game, retro game, is on one of these streaming services to make it easier to play, right?
That's very true. That's very true.
I will still, no matter what, if I do play it on one of the streaming services, I still will dust off the console and plug it in and play it just to see if there's any major differences between the port that's on the service and the original game.
Right.
Right. But just, just to jump into it real quick so I can, get as much time as I can with it. It's just so much easier when it's on the service. So
for sure.
I looked at it from hey, we have another podcast. It is easier for me to play it's easier to access, it's more accessible to play this game, so I can take notes and give some thought to it so we can do it for the other show.
Mm-hmm.
So all right, so we looked at Sony's 2022. Let's look at Sony's 2023. Okay, I don't see any price changes in the works because they sort of set everything up in 2022 got the backlash, and now Microsoft is following suit. Kind of funny, but
I mean, if anything, it's price increases, right? Didn't we talk about the PlayStation console in like Europe or whatever going up in price?
It was in like select countries. It went up by like 15%, but I haven't really heard heard much about it. I haven't heard much about that lately, to be honest.
Well, I think that went through. I don't think there's much the consumers can necessarily do about it. But they claimed cost increase and chip shortage and all that stuff, which I get. Parts are hard to come by.
But I will say this. I think we're sort of out of the eye of the storm of like the scalping. I would hope so. Yeah. I've seen PlayStation 5s in the stores. I've seen the note on the GameStop doors that said we have consoles.
Sure.
And so you can, and I think the president of PlayStation actually at CES sort of claimed that era is over. The stock is, 2023 stock will be like plentiful. So
I hope so. I mean, it's been like 2 years, you would think that'd be enough time to start manufacturing them. Like a lot of them, like the big initial buzz is over. People were buying them, but it's not the hot item for Christmas. It's.
So I'm going to say a prediction for Sony.
Mm-hmm.
It's a prediction that I don't want to happen this year.
It's going negative. Uh-oh.
No, it's negative because it's if it does happen, that means I got to buy it.
All right.
I think we will get the PS5 Slim at some point at the end of the year.
Right? They've been actually talking about like a kind of a revamp model and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be like a digital version with like, an external hard drive attachment that you can buy. It's optional. I don't want that to be this year, right? I want everyone to have the PS5 that I have. Maybe put that out next year. That would be great. Because this year I still got to buy the PSVR 2. I didn't pre-order it. I said I'll wait. I will wait. I'm not that bullish on VR. I do want it.
It's only got the one wire, Dan. You've almost achieved, utopia, right? You want the no wire situation, but we're almost there. This is the best you're going to get right now.
And then one more prediction for Sony. We already know that Spider-Man 2 is coming out like this year. So this will be the big game, right?
Mm-hmm.
For Sony this year. I'm going to say we're definitely going to get a Wolverine trailer. I don't know if it'll actually be gameplay, but we're going to get more than seeing his claws in the bar with his back turned.
Wow, it's a bold prediction, Dan. That's sarcasm right there.
No, to be honest, because they're so focused on Spider-Man, I could say we're not going to see anything about Wolverine, right?
If they have something ready, they'll show it, and I think they'll have something more than just a teaser, for sure.
I think we'll have more like at E3. I think they'll sort of they'll probably end it with actual a trailer of Wolverine. Again, right. I don't know. I don't know if it'll actually be in-game like action, but it'll be more. We'll see what he looks like. We'll see sort of like some story bits. That's what we're gonna get.
Well, the game's not coming out to 2024, right? We're both in agreement on that. I think, right?
I think that could be Sony's big 2024 game. Yes.
Right. So I mean, I'm surprised he didn't say anything about VR. That's where Sony's at. VR is coming out early. It's coming out Q1, I think, in February or like early March, and it's gonna do gangbusters. I mean,
Is that your prediction? Is it going to do gangbusters? Everyone's
well,
going to buy it?
no. I'm just saying that like it is going to do really well. It's not the budget underpowered baseline model. If you want to get into VR, here's the cheapest way to do it without like sticking your phone inside a cardboard box, right? Like because they had it was cool and it was a cheap way to get in, a cheaper way to get in than like an Oculus setup or like a Quest or whatever. Or like the HTC or whatever it is. So they're fully focused on this. We're going to see a lot of great stuff. And I think...
You want me to go bold? You want me to go bold? I'll go bold.
I mean, go ahead. Do you?
I'm going to do it. Wolverine will be playable in VR.
Oh, get out of here. No, now you're just making up nonsense. No way. No, if you're going to have a game in VR, it's going to be Spider-Man. 100%. That is the experience. Come on now. As much as I love Wolverine, flying around New York City, swinging webs and, flying into enemies and doing flips and stuff, that's where it's at. 100%. That's where it's at. Well, if they're going to do anything, I think they're going to do Spider-Man. And maybe they will. If they do a Wolverine thing, I would be all about it too. I think I'd be like super cool,
It'll be like Punch Out.
Oh my god, yeah.
Because you have the claws, and you're gonna be fighting the guy, and he's gonna back up, and he's gonna jump and kick you, and you're gonna be falling and turning around, and you're gonna feel it, right? So they will have a superhero. They will have a Marvel superhero game in VR. That's actually good because Iron Man was terrible. It was, and I'm sorry, Iron Man was terrible. I'm sorry, and now Facebook owns that owns the rights. Right. Yeah, they own that game because they own that studio.
Oh, that's right. That's kind of wild. So yeah, I mean, I think they're going to go big on VR. Going to be some more VR announcements. This is also something that I want, just like a lot of people, but a new Wipeout game in VR. I think that was one of the best, if not the best experiences on the original PlayStation VR, when you could ride around New York and these futuristic racetracks, flying around at top speeds. It was amazing. It was such a good experience. So yeah, and we'll probably see some new announcements. Sony's definitely going to go big on VR for sure.
Okay. So let's talk about the sleeping giant in the room of video games, and that's Embracer Group, right? Because now, we talked maybe like 2 years ago of Microsoft buying all these studios, right? And then Embracer Group came in and started buying IPs. They started buying IPs.
Yeah.
And now Embracer Group has is jumped into the studio buying business because they bought they bought 3 Square Enix game studios, and now they own Tomb Raider and Deus Ex.
Well, it was a fortuitous situation because Square wanted to get rid of some of their fat, which I don't necessarily agree with their
I think they're prepping for a buyout from like somebody, and I think it's going to be Sony. To be honest,
if there was a company, Sony would be the one. I would make that bet for sure. Yeah. You may be right. You may be right because they're a small enough studio to be bought up. I think Sony's got the money to do it. They've always had a good relationship ever since Final Fantasy VII debuted on the PlayStation 1. So that very well could happen. But I think as far as Embracer Group goes, they did the right thing because Tomb Raider's last trilogy was super hot. That was very good. I think the Deus Ex games did fairly well. I think I did pretty well. I think, it's a franchise that I think they could totally continue and, people would buy it for sure.
I wanted to sort of tie that in with sort of my Sony predictions because like Embracer Group is getting big. They own major IP now.
Yep.
And if Tomb Raider, the next Tomb Raider game, which is in development, they've already announced that. Not going to be in 2023, so it's not going to be in my 2023 predictions. But if that's a major hit, then Embracer Group will become like a major player. To be honest, they have the IPs, they have the talent. Let's see if they can make it work.
Do you not think they're a major player now? I'm guessing no.
I think they're a major player on paper, but you have to come to the console with good games. So
yeah, for sure.
So let's see if they can do that. But I wanted to sort of tie that in that I do think Square Enix will be acquired in 2023, and I think it will be by Sony because Sony doesn't want to give up that cash cow of Final Fantasy. And if they can make that in-house and make that exclusive,
sure.
They will shell out the money for it.
Sure.
The only issue I could see is, rest in peace to the quirky Square Enix games that come out on the Switch because now they're going to be sort of internal, but that would boost. Imagine, if Octopath Traveler is on PlayStation Plus, right?
Do you think they'd do that though? Because like, look at the trouble that Microsoft's getting into with the acquisition. Sony's making the claim that they're just going to take all these games in house, and PlayStation and Nintendo aren't going to get anything.
Sony only cares about Call of Duty.
No. I understand that, but even if Sony wasn't making that ruckus, the FTC isn't dumb. They understand how big Microsoft is going to be with this acquisition and how much of a controlling share of the video game market and the studios that they have. Like, that's not to go unnoticed. And Sony has been making acquisitions, not as many as Microsoft, but they're getting up there in size too. That the FTC is going to start looking and going, hey, maybe maybe we got to break you out.
Just remember, Sony is a Japanese company first and foremost, with
true.
presence in North America.
That's true.
And then Square Enix is a Japanese company also. So
it's true.
I mean, look, if you ask me, hey, out of all the, third parties, who would you want Sony to buy? It'd be Sega. It'd be Sega. Screw Square Enix. I would Sega. Yeah. Get Sega. Yeah. Right? So
they got a ton of good IPs for sure.
Yeah. Maybe we'll get a good Sonic game.
Listen, Sonic Mania was great. All right.
Sonic Frontiers is really good. Sonic Frontiers.
Oh,
is
Sonic
really
Frontiers. All right.
It's don't sleep on it. I think I think they put out a demo, but I think maybe it was only on a Switch for the Japanese. So if you have a Japanese account, I think you can get a Switch demo, if I'm not mistaken. So I was gonna say you should. Is it worth Dave playing? Yes, it is 1,000% worth Dave playing. It'll go down in price at some point, and I think you should pick it up.
Okay.
So, all right. Speaking of Japanese companies. Let's talk about the big one, the biggie, Nintendo.
Oh yeah.
So last year, I think is big because we got the first look at Super Mario Brothers movie. We got a direct.
Yep.
We got to see Chris Pratt. We got to hear Chris Pratt as Mario. Mm-hmm. I'll be honest. I know a lot of people are down on him. I don't know why. I think he sounds great. I think everybody sounds great in the movie. I think the movie looks
fine,
great.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
I think he's fine. I got no qualms with it. I think Nintendo's not going to let this be the 1993 Mario movie starring one John Leguizamo, who's not Italian, and one Bob Hoskins, who didn't know what movie he was in. They're not going to let that happen again. So,
Bob Hoskins, was he Italian?
No, 100. But I'm pretty sure he was Italian.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Good.
Pretty sure.
So I thought the movie. Listen, I'm excited about the Mario movie. I know people are overly critical about this, and I think no matter who they pick, who they chose to play Mario, even the man himself, who's been
Charles
voicing
Martinet?
the little. Yeah, I think in a full length movie where he's actually talking the whole time and not just doing, sounds and noises. I think in a full length movie that people would be very critical of him too. So I think it was a no-win situation no matter what.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
because it's Mario, but and then we got a release date for the Zelda Breath of the Wild 2. I will always call it. I know it's Tears from the Kingdom. We finally got a release date. It's coming out. Tears of the Kingdom is coming out this year.
Yep.
May 2023. But the big thing was we got the release date last year. All right, that was the big news.
Yeah. It's awesome.
So-
It's going to be a nice, not going to make it out in Q1, but at the start of spring, summer. So it'll be great. It's going to be a good game to play over that long stretch. You can take it outside and play on the go with your Switch OLED. I am super hyped for this game.
It's
gonna
going to
be
be competing. It's going to be competing with, Superman Kill the Justice League. That's also coming out in May.
That's right.
Those are the
right.
big May games. Those are the big May games. And then rest in peace. We got the announcement that Nintendo was shutting down the eShops for the 3DS and the Wii U.
Yep.
So they will officially be done, I think, in March of this year. I think you could still convert points into cash, or there's something you can't just buy it out flat out with a credit card, but you can convert points with cash or something like that, or gift cards. It's something along those lines. I'm not too sure into money, but I think that will all be shutting down completely in March.
Right.
So
Yeah. It's a long
you
time
have-
coming. It's a long time.
do you have
coming.
any Nintendo predictions for 2023?
Metroid?
I knew it.
Metroid question mark? I don't know. I don't know whether making that claim is a good thing or a bad thing. I don't know if it puts out bad juju and now it's going to go to 2030. It'll be like Half-Life 3 where it's never going to come out, but it always could come out. I don't know, Dan. I don't know.
So just to be clear, specific, you're talking about Metroid Prime 4.
Yeah. Talking about Metroid Prime 4 that was announced on stage, I think maybe E3 2018 with basically a moving JPEG, and that is all we got. And then we found out that Bandai Namco dropped the ball. They were the ones developing it. I don't know why they didn't hire Retro Studios to do it again. Who knows? And then what do you know? Retro Studios comes in and they come in to save the day, but they're like, we got to scrap all of this. None of this is good. So they basically started from zero, and now we are here, I guess 3 years later from when that was announced, or maybe 2.5 years after they announced Bandai, Namco Bandai messed up and they had to restart. So, I'm hoping.
Yeah, hoping. I think it was 2017. I think it was E3 2017.
Maybe it was 2017. Damn. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was even longer than that. It was
crazy.
2017.
Crazy.
So I got bold predictions, baby. I got bold
All right.
predictions,
All
and
right.
they have. So the next Mario game will be announced. We will.
Okay.
I'm not. It's not
Not
coming
that
out
bold a
this
prediction,
year.
but all right.
It's not coming out this year. Well, no one's. I don't think anybody's talking about Mario. I think we're gonna have a Mario movie. And I mean, look, when the Switch came out, we got it. It was the first time in decades, generations that we got Zelda and Mario in the same year.
Oh yeah, that almost never happens. Yeah.
Right? I think that happened. I mean that's a NES thing, right? Like an NES or maybe the Super Nintendo.
I don't even think the NES had them same year.
Same year?
Maybe Zelda 2 and Mario 2 were both 88, I think. Yeah, almost never happens.
So in the same year we got Mario and Zelda. I don't think it's gonna happen this year. I would love for it to happen, but I don't think it's gonna happen this year.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna get a Mario announcement, but I don't think we're gonna get the next Mario game just yet. But we will. They will announce it. I think Metroid Prime 4 will be released next year, but in its place, we will
2024. Okay.
2024. But in its place,
Donkey Kong?
we will get Metroid Prime Trilogy.
I mean, maybe.
This year. It's coming out in 2023. It will be out in 2023.
But it's definitely not going to be. It's definitely not going to be done by Retro because they're solely working on Metroid Prime 4. So maybe like Blue Pointer or like Blooper or something like that.
I think it's done.
Pick it up.
I think it's already done. I think it's been done.
It certainly could be. Nintendo is notorious for holding games, right, and not putting them out until Nintendo is ready to do so, even if they're done. So,
yeah. So I think we may get the next Switch iteration or whatever with the Mario game, but that's predictions, going, further down the line. But for 2023, we will get a Super Mario Odyssey 2, or maybe Mario, maybe something different. Who knows? But we're going to get another Mario announcement, Mario video game announcement.
Yeah.
And then lastly, big news that came out of last year, 2022. Rest in peace, 2022. Just like rest in peace to Stadia, because Google announced they were shutting down Stadia and users will be losing their access to games this month. I think it's this month. It will be shutting down at some point this month. I think on the 17th. I could be wrong about that.
Right.
But I think even big. I think sort of swept under the rug at the announcement that Stadia was shutting down. That the rumor came out that Google apparently canceled a Kojima Stadia exclusive game because it was a single player game and not a multiplayer game for everybody to play.
That's so weird. I still can't. Which
Kojima denies, but they all deny stuff, and I think this is true. And the Xbox game, the Xbox Kojima game that is being worked on, which we have no idea what's going on, and I don't think we will hear anything about it this year, by the way, to me, is that game that Stadia could have had.
Oh, I think so. When Kojima has an idea, he goes full steam ahead, unless it just gets crushed like in the case of PT, because I mean that's just something that Konami owns the rights to, so he couldn't really do anything with it. But yeah, and I thought there was some talk about utilizing like cloud technology and whatever else, and kind of the online state of things. Maybe it wasn't online enough for Google. I don't know. I don't know. It's weird. I mean, technically, Death Stranding had some online connectivity. Like you could go in online mode, and then you would get the benefit of other package delivery people, other porters, from the stuff that they built around. So you could see like other people's creations, or they would help fix the road or build a bridge, and you would see some of that in your game, which I thought was kind of cool. So maybe that's what he's trying to do with this new game. I don't know.
All right, Dave, it's time. It's time. It's Veda. Yeah, it's Veda. Time. Yeah, I had to take it back to wrestling. I couldn't help it. I couldn't help myself. I'm a big wrestling fan.
Of course, you're gonna drop a Vader reference of all things. Jesus.
Rest in peace. Rest in peace, Vader.
Yeah.
It's time for the game of the year 2022, the GOAT of 2022, the Michael Jordan of 2022, the Tom Brady, the Wayne Gretzky, the Serena Williams of 2022.
The Eli Manning? Come on, he beat Tom Brady twice. All right,
he did, but he's not the GOAT. He's not the GOAT.
Sure.
You just had to get it. You know what? I give that to you. I got my wrestling. I got my little wrestling hook in. You got a Giants hook in. So we got it.
So let's just recap real quick the 10. Right. So I had Elden Ring, Vampire Survivors, TMNT, Shredder's Revenge, God of War Ragnarok, and Tunic. And you had Kirby and the Forgotten Land, King of Fighters 15, Horizon Forbidden West, Splatoon 3, and Bayonetta 3. And then, in a surprise turn, we had the Order 18. No.
No,
that time is come and gone. Only game to be nominated 3 times in a row, 2015, 2016, 2017. The Order 1886. It'll go down in history. Yes.
It would go down. It would go down in history. As a matter of fact, the NBA started naming their awards after famous players. Like yeah. So if you you win the MVP of the league, that's the Michael Jordan MVP, right? Okay. And I think Bill Russell, the MVP of the finals, is like Bill Russell. Yeah. So I think we should name our award. So I think we should call it the Order 1886 Game of the Year of the year.
I like it. I like it.
It's the first game. It's the first game to have its own award.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right. Without further ado.
Yeah. Go ahead. I'll let you do it this year.
No. Okay, Dave. I'm kicking it to you. The Order 1886 Game of the Year of 2022 is
God of War Ragnarok. Now, this was probably the easiest year ever because there wasn't a lot of games that me and Dan both played that we both really liked. And the answer was God of War, right? You didn't like Elden Ring. We both loved Shredder's Revenge, but it didn't quite make it. You didn't play Vampire Survivors. You thought Tunic was too difficult. I didn't play Bayonetta 3. I didn't play Splatoon. I didn't play Horizon. I didn't play King of Fighters or Kirby.
I'll be honest. So going back, it was God of War for me. Mm-hmm. Like 100%. Like God of War was like my top, game of 2022. And I was a little worried because I know you were so big into Elden Ring, and I really wanted you. I almost bought you Horizon Forbidden West and shipped it to your house because I thought this was an important game for you to play because it was really, really, really good. And if God of War didn't come out this year, I probably would have did that. Just so you could get to see how much better Horizon Forbidden West was from the first one. Right. Mm-hmm. And it's so much easier to get into in this. But no, God of War checked all the boxes. I mean, it looked great. It played great. The mechanics were great. The story, we got the continuation of the story, and it, I don't know if you actually finished it yet. No, you haven't finished it because you haven't even got the secret weapon that shall not be named yet because you will get it.
Nope.
And I think, what do you think about the upgrade system in God of War Ragnarok compared to the original God of War 2018?
It's exactly the same.
I think it's a little bit more simplified somewhat. I think they took a step out of it to where you could just upgrade it.
I don't know. It felt, I mean, it was the same, like, get all these things to craft this better version of this thing and, get a little bit better with a couple extra points, and it's too much. It's unnecessary. It's unnecessary. Maybe it was a little more simple than the first one. A little bit more streamlined, maybe is the word. But still, even with all that, I thought it was great. I think the story is a lot better. Atreus is even better in this one. He was great in the first one. I think he's even better in this one. So,
this did it. This did it for me. I mean, I thought, again, one of the best looking games of the year. I mean, right up there with Elden Ring. If we're talking about visuals, definitely I would, nominate Elden Ring, like, hands down. But, like, God of War, visually, storytelling, the story arc definitely captured me. Like, it was one of the best stories told in video games, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So I really like the way they went in the twist at the end. The crafting, I didn't really have an issue with the crafting. The only issue I could say, the end, the big boss battle at the end was slightly disappointing to me. Maybe to you, it'd be, because you play things on hard. So maybe to you, it'd be a little bit more satisfying. To me, I was slightly disappointed with the ending boss, but I won't say, who it is, but
okay.
But the big battle with Thor, the big battle, which is not a secret, and the big battle with the bear, which is in the trailer.
Yeah,
I thought those were awesome. I think the big battles are epic, and they usually are epic in God of War games. So more so in this one, you know, they built upon what they did in God of War 2018. So
for
I
sure.
thought this was fantastic, and Christopher Judd did an amazing job. Where he's now, you know, he's protecting it's like that dynamic. Your son is older and he's old enough to do things on his own, but you still want to protect him, but you have to let him spread his wings. Mm-hmm. And I think Christopher Judd did a phenomenal job with that.
Right. Yeah. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. So there you go. Our game of the year, 2022, God of War Ragnarok.
So, Dave. Mm-hmm. Got any weekend plans?
Yeah, I got to get out of the house, Dan. The weather's actually unseasonably nice. All right, it's in the 50s and 60s, so
It's raining.
yeah, I'm gonna
Been raining.
get out. I'm gonna go out and get some fresh air, travel around the city. Then I'm gonna do some game hunting. Got to get back on the grind.
Okay.
How about you?
Well, I have to, now that we already, you know, we did a Saturday Morning Retro Show, episode 27, if I believe, if I'm not mistaken. You should check that out. Hopefully that'll be up. Hopefully that's up already. By
By the time you're hearing this, it'll be up. Yeah.
I think I'm just gonna go. I gotta clean up the game room and take a look and see what the next game is for Saturday Morning Retro for January.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and definitely listen for episode 28 because I got some heavy hitters for Christmas gifts. You know, I get them every year. Mm-hmm. And I got some good ones. So check out Saturday Morning Retro episode 28 when hopefully that'll drop at the end of this month.
Nice. All right. Well, that is episode 341 in the books. First episode of 2023. Happy to be back on the mics. And we want to thank you guys for listening to the show, for liking, commenting, doing all the good stuff that you guys do. If you want to interact with us, and we know that you do, you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at Rated G for Gamers. So please listen, like, rate, review, and subscribe. And as always,
Keep gaming.